Hey guys, DMS here. Today I have for you a review of the Ether C-Flow 1.1. Now, this is not a new headphone, and this headphone has seen more than one revision, but I feel like it's time. This pair got sent in, and I have a lot to say about it because it really surprised me. Now, as always, I have my notes here on my phone, so if you see me looking away, I'm checking those out. I don't want to miss anything. I know it's annoying if I'm not looking at the camera, but a small sacrifice we have to make. So as far as build and comfort is concerned, this build I feel like is an extremely intuitive design. The way these cups rotate, the adjustment mechanism and how you can lock it, pretty much everything about this design I'm extremely happy with as far as the overall build is concerned. I don't know how much I trust there being a lot of moving parts. That does make me uneasy, but I can see that a lot of things they did here was to save on weight. And for a planar headphone, I really appreciate that because planars tend to be heavy. The suspension strap is extremely welcome. I'm glad that my head doesn't touch the top of this bar at any point because the suspension strap is very well placed. And the ability to adjust it right here is just, it's great. I love that. My biggest complaint about the build are these connectors. It's kind of a pain to line them up. You have to get it just right, and then they don't break away. If my chair right here gets caught as I rotate, it'll pull these off my desk or off my head. The point of a breakaway cable, I feel like, is to help us avoid things like that, and this doesn't. But I feel like overall, these do feel really well built. I'm not sure if there's anything weird going on here, but I mean, they're using metal instead of wood, so the cups aren't going to crack. I don't know if this is held on with screws or adhesive, but the backs seem to be firmly attached. And the leather, this pair has definitely been used, but the leather broken in feels extremely comfortable. Now, there are inserts you can get on the 1.1 that go right here inside the ear pads that will change the sound a little bit. Mostly it's just the thicker ones you put in, the more it's going to recess the treble. So, depends on if you care about that or not. None of them ever really touched my ear, so I was okay with it, but I ended up preferring the white one the most. And finally, on comfort, I just wanted to point this out. Weight distribution on these is perfect. There is nothing at all I would change about the comfort of this headphone. If anybody from Mr. Speakers ends up watching this, you have made the most comfortable planar closed back headphone, and I just, I love that, because that's always been the biggest deterrent from me on a lot of headphones, but specifically planars, as much as I love them, is comfort, and you've managed to make something extremely comfortable here, and I hope this design philosophy continues into your future products, because honestly, that is one of the biggest, just, hitting the nail on the head right there. Love it. Okay, so sound. Let's refer to my notes here. Bass is very well extended, but it does feel slow, a little bit sloppy at times. But interestingly enough, as we get higher in the frequency response range, it seems to feel faster and more detailed. But bass and sub-bass, while well extended, a little bit boosted, but not much, very small amount, does feel a little bit slow. This headphone does lean a little bit warm at times also, but not too much. The mid-bass, regardless of the sub-bass and bass being a little bit slow, mid-bass has virtually no bloom, which is phenomenal in a closed-back headphone, but even more phenomenal for a headphone that is a little bit warm like this, and for a planar. Mid-range is pretty full. Some parts can be distant, but nothing really sounds lacking. And the mid-range is extremely well-textured and detailed. And some of this will go into vocals, but I'm going to talk about that after we get through the frequency range. The highs can be a little bit of a roller coaster. Overall, they sound a little bit, just a little bit, like just a fingernail recessed. Except for around 5 to 7K, there's definitely a spike somewhere in there. Not bad, not like HD800, but similar to Icon, I do hear a little bit of a spike right there. It doesn't kill it for me. It's a little bit more harsh without these inserts. With the inserts, I didn't find it to be a problem at all whatsoever. Now, aside from that one spike, the treble is very, very smooth and very fast. There's something about these headphones that just sounds extraordinarily fast in the treble. I don't know why it sounds different in the higher range rather than it does in the bass. I mean, I understand higher frequencies are faster in general, but it does sound exceptional in the highs when it comes to speed. Another thing I wrote here in my notes is that these are narrow. This is not as narrow as like an HD600, but this is a pretty narrow headphone, and I think I know why. Not as a specific cause, but I feel like this is an artifact of making a closed back planar. And for the benefits this gives, I'm willing to accept that. Imaging is great, but imaging can get lost in the narrow soundstage at times. I tried these with gaming and a few other things where imaging is really important, and it definitely performed. I wouldn't say this is bad for gaming, but it's not going to perform quite as well with imaging and things like games as a good open back headphone's going to. And the dynamic range is average at best. It's not exceptional. Being able to listen at lower volumes because it is closed back does help with the dynamic range. And vocals are very, very intimate and detailed, especially female vocals. And it's not quite the sound of vocals resonating from inside your skull or something like that. There's a strong frontal center image, and there are certain songs I have that were recorded live, specifically jazz tracks, to where the singer will approach microphones on the left and right, and it does sound like there's a person approaching and speaking right into your ear. It's a very, very good experience with these headphones. And I have to point this out, I specifically wrote in my notes, resolving beast, because these resolve detail much more than I would expect for a lot of planars in the $1,000 range, but these resolve detail in a way that I did not expect from a closed back headphone at all, which inherently leads to brilliant separation, but I really don't know how they did it. Almost every closed back planar, from the closed back LCDs, closed back M1060, all that, they have some strange frequency response, and planars can be good closed back, but not this good closed back. And this is not a thick headphone. If you look right here, the pad goes out to right here. So between here and there, that's not a lot of space for a planar driver to breathe. I have no clue how they made a planar sound good in a space this small, but they did. And the frequency response of it, I did measure it, and it doesn't come out really weird. It comes out as I would expect for a good planar, with, I mean, a couple dips and spikes here and there, but nothing massive. Overall, I would have expected a closed back planar to be very, very different from what this presented. Between that and the comfort, this is basically taking closed back planars to the next level. And if I were to describe and compare this to any other headphone, I would describe it as a essentially planar icon, or a planar version of the ZMF icon. They seem to share similar sound characteristics to me. This is a little bit more comfortable. You're not going to get the sound that you get out of a Biocellulose Dynamic with the ZMF, but they are certainly comparable headphones. And honestly, I really want to buy these from the person that sent them in. I know I shouldn't. I really shouldn't. Oh, I really shouldn't. I need tires on my car, but I really, really, really want these. So with everything said, between the sound and the comfort, if soundstage is a deal breaker for you, that sucks. That's how it is sometimes. The connectors don't really like that, but between the extreme resolution and the comfort, these get a very strong recommendation. The Aether C-Flow 1.1 revision from Mr. Speakers. So guys, I hope you liked this video. If you did, please leave a like down below and a comment letting me know what you want to see in the future. As always, if you want early access to videos like this one, you can check out the Patreon linked in the video description, or the community forum where you can talk about headphones like this and others with the community. And as always, don't forget to stick around and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Until the next one, guys. Peace.